Hey, good afternoon, friends. It's Steve with Real Progressives. I was on the radio today, a community radio program in Central Illinois. I think it was WETF, and it was the World Labor Hour. Guys were really kind. It was a really nice opportunity to be on the air, talk to a different set of people. And they brought me on after having done some interviews with me previously on the phone, just to find out what my whole game was. They had heard me on Tim Black a while back. And, they felt like, hey, maybe this guy's got something to offer. But they really genuinely didn't know what I was bringing. And I didn't have the benefit of hearing their chatter back and forth before I got on the phone or before I got on the radio. They really didn't know what was going on. And so when I got on, I proceeded to tell them about the basics of modern monetary theory and MMT. And why it is so critical that we, as a nation, adopt it. Well, it's already adopted. It's already in practice. The problem is that people don't know it, and they spread bad myths. And, they basically have used our own ignorance against us to extreme precision. And people continue to parrot the bad stuff. So as I sat there on this radio program, it became abundantly clear to me that, we get what? I don't know. We got 80,000 follow us, maybe at the most at any given time, 100 people, 150 people listening at one time. Let's say on a really, really lucky stream, I get, 400 or 500 people sharing it. Let's say maybe on a really, really awesome one, Facebook algorithms allow us to hit 75, 80,000 people, maybe 100,000 people. These things maybe get 20,000 views. That's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. It's a lot for just some dude, but it's not a lot if you're really trying to change the world. And I could tell that every word that came out of my mouth was the very first time they had heard it. And that scared the crap out of me, because everything that we're talking about here is life-changing. And it's not just life-changing. It's factual. I can sit there and I can show you, and I have shown you, link after link after link. I can demonstrate it. I can walk you through it, etc. It's fact-based. It's not really an ideology. It's more of an assessment of how federal financing works from 1971 to present. And yet most people genuinely have not only not heard that taxes don't fund spending, the federal taxes don't fund spending, but they haven't heard any of the things that I'm talking about, literally. And so you think to yourself, my God, what an incredibly difficult challenge it's going to be to educate a zombie nation, a nation full of followers, zombies, that just go along and just repeat the same stuff. I am not doing great, but I appreciate you asking. Politics and stuff, thanks for saying hello. Tim, welcome to the show. I have come to find that, people like to tag me in things. They like to include me into their discussions. They like to bring up these chat rooms and add me into them, and I enjoy it. But some of these recently, I've been listening to people, and they're like, maybe we'll get them next election cycle. Maybe we will get them next election cycle. Maybe we can, I'm checked out. I'm bored. I'm done with this fight. I'm burned out. We'll get them next time. I'm like, what? So take that with me talking to this radio station and them watching their heads explode virtually, and you realize why this is going to be such a huge uphill battle. People don't really mean it when they say they want single payer. They mean they want for someone like you and me who are actually dialed in and trying to fight for this stuff, to fight a little bit harder to make up for them while they go and play games and watch, TV and maybe play their Xbox or, go flirt with somebody on Match.com or something. I don't know. I don't know what you do, man. When the world is about to blow up around you and you're not dialed in, shame on you. I mean, seriously. But that's what we're dealing with, folks. We're dealing with an entire group of people that are A, misinformed, B, tired, C, burned out, E, whatever. They were always sort of sketchy, fringy people that were party first. They don't really care. It's easier just to vote party line, hit the all line button, and do nothing. Not have to know anything, not do anything, just whatever. And that is what most of our country is, period. I'd like to believe that all you smart folks that dial in and listen to us and check us out on YouTube and check us out on these radio shows and different video shows and so forth. Jackie Lukeman was on Tim Black the other night, one of our own. Of course, got Claudia doing her What the F Happened, tour. You've got Chelsea out there at the Dakota Pipeline. You got Garland, who was streaming last night from his radio program. And then you've got the rest of the team, Kendall, all of us, fighting this thing. And I'm sitting there saying, you're dialed out. You're not really fighting anymore. You're done. Why are you done? Because Bernie's not running anymore? Seriously? Yeah. So how in the world are we going to do Overton window shifting kind of economic policies with a nation that checks out the minute the going gets tough? I don't know, folks. I don't know. I'm dead serious. I mean, do I maybe make cartoons and sell them to video games to plug them into the video game so that they'll sit there and watch it in between their, first inning of Major League Baseball 2017? I mean, what the heck? I mean, I don't know how to get them to wake up. Maybe make a video game for this stuff? I don't know. But it's pathetic when you've got this much stuff going on and you can't count on people to stay committed to fight. And it is frightening that we're going to go another 4 years, 8 years, whatever, going, we got to raise taxes to pay for it. And they're going to say, no, we don't have to raise taxes. We need to cut taxes. And then they cut spending. And then all of a sudden they have a grand bargain and more food stamps get cut. And then we cut emissions, or we do something only half-assed. And then the freaking coastline in Florida goes away because we didn't take advantage of our monetary sovereignty to fix climate change. How many people die? How many wars do we fight? On and on and on. All because people thought it was too tough, dialed out, got bored, checked out, went on their way. And that, to me, friends, means that I've got to double down. I got to work harder. Because folks like us who are dialed in doing this stuff, we got to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Because there's a lot of people that just don't have it in them to be a good citizen and fight. They aren't. They're terrible revolutionaries. They're not even revolutionaries. I mean, they're just sullen now. And they've gone and faded back into the matrix. They don't care. And then the ones that are still dialed in, that don't read the links, well, we don't need somebody just making noise, folks. We need people to know what the hell they're talking about so you can duplicate our voices. We need folks that are paying attention and learning, because we've got to wake America up. We're never going to make any progress. None, zip, zero, zilch, if we don't learn the basics of economics. We should not be talking about raising and cutting taxes at the federal level. At your state level, we can talk about that. But at the federal level, this should not be a start. We should be looking and finding out where we are in sectoral balances. If you don't know what sectoral balances are, that's because this is your first time listening to me, which is fine. I get it, and thank you for joining. Or you didn't pay attention when you did listen to me. Sectoral balances are the way you figure out what needs to be spent money on. Whether you cut federal spending, cut into interest rates for private sector lending, or whether or not you work on the trade deficit. You've got private, public, and rest of world. Those are the three buckets that we measure. If our private debt is through the roof and we've got a huge trade deficit, we need to spend like crazy at the federal level. And this is stuff that right now we have a massive $500 billion a year annual trade deficit. We still have unemployment, and we have sky-high personal debt, most of which has still not been vacated from the recession, and student loan debt has gone through the roof. So since people are too unwilling to read the links that we post, they're too unwilling to take the time to go out there and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And for those of you doing it, thank you. You make it worthwhile. Thank you so much. But those of you who aren't doing it, I'm imploring you, I'm begging you. Being on that radio program today, these are the people that have the ears of that community. And I was able to give them, I was only supposed to be on for 20 minutes, but damn it, I gave them 45. So, hopefully we'll be able to pull that feed and bottle it up for you and put it out there. Because I'm telling you right now, when one of my admins told me, Steve, you should have heard it when you were on the air. They were like, some guy named Steve Grum something or other is on. And then when I got on, it was like you could almost hear it like, what did he just say? Did he just really say that? Ooh. And so the point is that we need to get past even this discussion, because we got to start talking about what we can do with it, what real strength we can have when we understand the power of monetary sovereignty, when we understand our national strength, our natural resources that we can put to bear for the 99%. When we stop fighting against ourselves. They've convinced some fools out there that we got some national debt that we don't want to pass on to our kids. It's a lie. It's a lie. Debt denominated in our own currency is not debt at all, folks. It's not debt at all. Remember that. Debt denominated in our own currency is not debt like you and I know it at all. There is no corporate credit card for the federal government that they put wars on. Anyone that says it, including Mr. Obama, is a liar. Simple. We simply print the money. We pay the bills to the contractors as they go. Now, I see some people going, well, I want to balance the budget. Why do you want to balance the budget, you knucklehead? That means that your taxes have to measure up even 1-to-1 with the amount of spending going out. So we never expand the economy. Don't be a complete and utter worthless idiot. Sorry, I have to say it. Money that is taxed is taken out of the economy. It doesn't get recycled and spent on Queen Latifah's phone. You racists out there, that's for you. And for the other folks that think that somehow or another this debt is going to be passed on because of the Federal Reserve, stop it. That's not true. Debt denominated in our own currency is not debt at all. We can print the hell out of it and we can pay it right away. I'll give you a link from L. Randall Wray, one of my favorite economists, to prove this point. But this should not be the first time folks are hearing it, and it is scary as hell that it is. How many progressives stand there and march? They're all full of piss and vinegar. Let's raise taxes, goddammit. Raise the taxes. And what do? We never get to the point where we actually talk about single payer because you're too busy fighting about stupid taxes that don't mean anything. They're not funding jack diddly. At the state level, that's a different story. County, federal is totally different story than all the other. Why? Federal government is the currency issuer. The states are currency users. States have to tax to spend. I'm telling you this again, and I'll tell it to you again, and I'll tell it to you again. Hopefully I'll get a different 60 or 70 people watching next time, 150 people next time maybe. Hopefully it'll be different people each time. Hopefully you all will tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend so that we can get people to stop killing Americans with austerity because they think their frickin' taxes pay for spending. I'm serious. Think about the Russians. Remember that song by Sting? In Europe and America, there's a glow. Anyway, he said, I hope the Russians love their children too. Well, I hope the Republicans love their children too. And I hope Democrats love their children too. Because real progressives know about economics. Democrats and Republicans do not. They want to fight the back and forth because that is the key to their power. As long as they think that you want them to raise taxes on the rich, they've got you by the short hairs because nobody else is talking about raising taxes on the rich. And the Republicans, as long as they think you're going to talk about cutting taxes and they think you're going to cut government spending, well, they've got those people on the hook too. You see how this game plays? And it's always like tic-tac-toe. It always ends up zero, but it always keeps drifting further to the right. Further and further and further to the right. It's our job to learn this crap straight up. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, folks. You don't even need to do all these formulas and all the other crazy nonsense. You just need to know that you should go to your representatives and demand that they at the federal level stop lying to us about how we're broke and start spending on the 99%. And when you see your LOL libertarian friends that believe the Ron Paul logic, tell them they're wrong and point them to me. I'm glad to take them on. I'm glad any one of them will drop the elbow and we'll bring them back into the new world. Okay? They are still living in gold standard logic that is idiocy beyond words. And the gold bugs, they just shouldn't ever speak about economics. They just don't have any real value to the conversation. They add zero value, really. Okay? So we need to make them a valuable member of society too and get rid of their gold bug mindset. And please never say the petrodollar. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay? We have a free floating, meaning non-pegged. Do you know what it means to be pegged? Let's talk about pegged real quick. That means that we've pegged our dollar to the value of oil, or we've pegged our dollar to the value of gold, or we pegged our value to the value of chicken necks or frog legs or whatever the hell you want to peg it to. Okay? Many of these countries, and that you've seen have hyperinflation and stuff like that, they peg their currency to a commodity. Well, that's what the Paul bots want to do. They want to peg it to gold. Friggin' morons. Look behind it. Look before 1981. We had an 11-year period from 71 to 81, 82, where we didn't quite figure out how to control monetary policy. We had a bunch of inflation. But then from that point on, no inflation, folks. We've been trying like hell to come up with inflation. We can't do it. We got too much saturation out there. There is no such thing as inflation. They can't figure it out. The only way they could maybe come up with some inflation is if our Congress were to spend on us. But then we go back to that thing I said in the beginning that some people probably didn't hear, and that is sectoral balances. Do we have a trade deficit? Yes. Do we have unemployment in this country? Yes. Do we have massive private debt? Yeah. Guess what? Federal government, it's time for you to spend, spend, spend. Do the 33 trillion Bernie put out there. Do Jill's Green New Deal. You want to see jobs? Whoo, watch that. You know what? If they actually did a Green New Deal, that TPP thing, you wouldn't even be worried about it as much. You wouldn't even be worried about it. We'd have great jobs fixing bridges, great jobs fixing our infrastructure, great jobs fixing buildings, great jobs fixing our energy grid, great jobs in education, great jobs in the medical field, great jobs all over. But instead, you want to fight to package up the next chocolate bar. Really? I mean, seriously. That's what you want to fight for. Rah! Let me twist the thing on the Hershey Kiss. Really? Good for you. I want to build a bridge. I want to be an underwater welder. I want to do something other than twist the wrappers on a Hershey's Kiss. Okay, work 14 hours standing on my feet the whole time when a robot's about to do that anyway. Think about it, folks. Technological unemployment is real. We don't need to be stuck by it. We can shift that with a federal jobs guarantee. How will we pay for a federal jobs guarantee? Your hard-earned tax dollars? No, that's right. Our federal government can afford to be the employer of last resort. So, we need to debunk these myths. And I really, really hope to God some of you are paying attention, taking the time to read the links that we'll provide, taking the time to be that next one in line to carry this message forward. This is what Bernie Sanders' economic team was preaching, though you couldn't hear it because he told you, I'm going to raise taxes on Wall Street with a Wall Street speculation tax. Now think about this for a minute, right? Wall Street speculation tax is Pigovian. In other words, you're trying to de-incentivize doing a behavior. Once people stop doing said behavior because it's no longer lucrative to do, then all of a sudden said behavior stops and that revenue stream dries up. Are they going to stop single payer suddenly? No. Why? Because it never paid for it anyway. It was just to make you guys feel like they were paying for it. Bernie's taxes didn't come close to touching the 33 trillion. It wasn't even in the stratosphere. But you guys don't even know who Stephanie Kelton is, his top economic advisor, the one who created his spending plan. Most of you all didn't even know that, but yet you're devoted to Bernie, but yet when I tell you about economics, you still throw up the Federal Reserve and crap at me. Really? Come on, guys. I need an army behind me. I need a bunch of people willing to start telling a friend and telling a friend and telling another friend, and if those friends don't get it, send them to Real Progressives. I'll work on them. I will do my best. And you can ask some people. People have found a way to talk to me, reach me, call me. I've taken some phone calls. I'm not going to take them all because I just can't. I just don't have enough time. But I have taken time on the phone with people to try and walk them through this stuff. It means that much to me, folks. I'm serious. It means that much. It means that much to the whole country. And once this light bulb goes off for you, once you realize they're lying to you about being broke, once you realize that you've been paying Social Security, but it's not going in a piggy bank waiting for you, it's just being deleted from the system. Every dollar in Social Security is a new dollar. They appropriate a new frickin' dollar. There is no debt like that. And they are lying to you. Point blank. You believe all these crazy things about Rothschilds and lizard people? Well, I'm telling you a real thing, and most of you can't get your head around it. But you'll believe in lizard people, but you won't believe in this. I don't get it. I need you to wake up. I need you to pay attention so we can change this country, because this election cycle, while we fight for Jill, we all of a sudden go into the dead zone where all those people check out of the system. How are we going to educate them on economics when they're off over there playing tiddlywinks? I'm serious. Playing fantasy football, collecting baseball cards, watching Real Housewives of New Jersey or something like that. I'm serious. How are you going to educate those people? We have to. And so I'm going to come up with a campaign for us to contact our representatives. I'm going to put together some sort of a postcard thing that we can all send directly to our legislators. And it's going to put links, and it's going to put names, and it's going to put facts. And we're going to send it to them. And we're going to keep sending it to them. And we're going to send it to them until they finally get it. And then hopefully by the time somebody says, what the heck's this crazy man talking economics about? I can get on the air and I can say, boom. Or better yet, since I'm like John the Baptist, I'm not even the Christ of economics, the people above me that know this stuff, like Stephanie Kelton, Warren Mosler, L. Randall Wray, James Galbraith, William Black, J.D. Alt, Joseph Firestone, all these people, Steve Keen in Australia, people that get economics, these folks, Roger Malcolm Mitchell, RMM, Bill Mitchell, the list is long, and yet most of them are unknown. But if we can get them, if I can start talking to them, and we can put some sort of a show together where I interview them, and I start getting you guys to understand more and more and more and more and more, we have a chance of making real honest-to-God change, because I don't want to live on a fried up planet when we can sit there and retrofit this stuff today if we wanted to. I don't want to die from some curable disease because we chose not to, spend money because people thought we had to balance our budget like a frickin' checkbook. Anyway, I'm going to turn up the ratchet. I'm going to go crazy with this stuff going forward. After being on that show today and feeling the heads exploding through the phone, I know that if I don't do it, it ain't going to happen. I'm serious. It ain't going to happen. I don't talk about subjects that I don't have as much information on, so I leave them to other people to talk about because they aren't my ballywick. They aren't my thing. But this is my thing. I feel like this is my mission to bring about change through economics, because ultimately everything you ever ask for, what do they say? How are you going to pay for it? Anyway, this is Steve with Real Progressives, hoping you learned something today. Have a great day and keep following us.